I am Mike Rosenboom here again to continue to talk to you a little bit about short sales. We already talked about what a short sale is. It is when a seller is trying to sell their home for less than they owe on their mortgage. Okay, they're coming up short. In our example over here with the beautiful pink house, we talked about how the seller owes $200,000. Their house is really only worth $180,000, and when you add in the real estate fees and other costs of selling, they're coming up $30,000 short. But we already said it really is advantageous for a seller to do a short sale rather than foreclose. And it's really advantageous to the bank as well. So why is it so difficult to get a short sale transaction completed? Well, let's talk about that. Number one, it takes a lot of effort from the seller to get a short sale completed. The bank is going to want to see that you have a good reason for not being able to make your payments, a good reason for wanting to do a short sale rather than them foreclosing on you. They're going to want to see bank statements. They're going to want to see pay stubs. They're going to want to see a letter, a reason, a hardship letter. Why are you not able to make your payments anymore? And it's going to have to be a good enough reason. If it isn't a good enough or sufficient reason, if you don't have evidence to show that, look, I really have no other choice here, then they're going to foreclose on the home rather than doing a short sale. And in my experience, when you already have a seller that's stressed out, it just takes a lot of energy and a lot of effort, and really have to work with them to get them to put all of that energy into jumping through the hoops that the bank makes them jump through. Which leads me to my next point, number two. The banks really aren't even set up for this. Okay, it often seems very disorganized when you're trying to do a short sale because the bank, it just seems like they don't have it together. Well, the main reason is they don't. They don't have the staffing set up for it. They don't have the processes in place. It is getting better. Okay, it really is. But we still have a long way to go. This short sale explosion has happened really within the last 5 years, and banks are still trying to catch up and realize, well, maybe it is beneficial to do a short sale. So the banks aren't really set up for it. The third reason is the banks have an option. If they don't like the deal that they're getting in the short sale, they can still foreclose. And sometimes that's what they're choosing to do, and it's very frustrating. So when you're dealing with a short sale, you're trying to push the bank to do something. Well, they don't feel like their backs are against the wall yet because they still have a choice. And then the last reason that I've noticed why short sales are so tough is because there's a lot of parties involved in the transaction. If you're lucky, there's just one mortgage holder. You're just paying one mortgage. But oftentimes we know that's not the case. You have a first and a second mortgage, sometimes a third. So you have all these different parties that are now the decision makers. When you go to buy a regular home, you're dealing with a seller, and the seller decides whether or not they like the deal. When you're dealing with a short sale, it's not the seller's decision, it's the bank's decision. And to really even make it more complicated, sometimes it's two banks' decisions, and they don't always play nice with each other. And realistically, it's worse than that because a lot of times, let's just say you were making your payments to Bank of America, for example. Well, Bank of America may not even own the note, which means they're not the decision maker. They're just taking your payments in what is called servicing the loan. The decision has to be made by an investor who you and nobody in the transaction will ever even get to speak to. And I'm just bringing up a couple of things that happen in a short sale that make it very, very, very difficult to get the short sale accomplished. But with all that said, again, I cannot stress enough, I spoke about this in the last video, make sure you get a qualified and experienced realtor because the realtor is going to be the one that can help keep you on track and help keep the whole transaction flowing, communicating with the different parties to make sure that things are happening in the time that they need to happen in. And if they've done it before, then they'll be able to get that moving as smoothly as possible. So if you are behind on your payments, definitely get on this path of a short sale because we talked about in the last video, it's going to be better for you. And if you have any questions, you can always call me. or message me at 615 330 6177. Thanks.